The first thing we're going to do is talk through the professional services part of the Revecast product. We start with our account and that account's opportunity. We have now won this opportunity, set up the opportunity, and created our dates, when we estimate this to start, how long that is meant to go for, and then our revenue split for what amount. So in this case, it's 100,000. We then are able to see our scheduled revenue from this screen here. We're then going to be able to tell how much we're expecting to be month over month. In this case, we've done a even split. So it's 25,000, 25,000, 25,000, and 25,000 across our 4 months. Now from this, we then can use our new project button to create our new project. Just make sure that we have all of the months for this particular time period. In the event that we're going from December 2024 to March 2025, we would want to make sure that we have the month records set up in advance, so that is taken care of. Then we set our basic details and we push next. Now on my screen, I've already created that project. Here it is, the Acme implementation. I'm the owner. This is the current status of this project. What is the type of project? And then of course, the opportunity from which this project came. A couple of other details, and then we are ready to get started. The first couple of things that you're going to want to keep track of are your streams. So we call them work streams. These are flexible work streams you can plan against. From a project management perspective, I want to plan the budgeted hours for this particular work stream, plan that out in advance, and then see how well we track to those buckets of hours. I can make them hierarchical, one higher than the other. For example, within Discovery, we have 2 tracks, the Salesforce track and the Marketing Cloud track. We can keep track of estimated hours and how many hours billable and unbillable we log against that particular work stream, so we can keep track of our budget as we move forward. In addition, the other major thing that we want to get set up is our project team. Who are those people that we want to have on this project, and what is their role on this project? Those things are important for keeping track of who is on which roles on which projects and what kind of information we have on them. We can keep track of default rates. Those rates can be changed week over week if we need to, but we want to start somewhere. And then of course, the start and the end of the project. Now keep in mind, sometimes people come and go from projects. So in the event that we were scheduling Discovery, but we didn't need our Salesforce consultant for Discovery, then we would just have a different start date. And then when we go to the scheduling, which is coming next, that person just wouldn't show up for those specific weeks or months. Now, once we have these basic details set up, let's also make sure that we come back to our monthly schedules and make sure that our monthly schedules line up with our schedule line items. Each one of these months, February, March, April, and May, these are our project schedules for the month. Project schedule for February, project schedule for March, project schedule for April, project schedule for May. Now you'll notice over here on the right that we have our schedule line items. This is how much we're estimating based on our original schedule. So if we go back to our opportunity, this number right here ties directly to this month. And this month then is scheduled accordingly based on the people that are on the project and their rates and the number of hours. Then we have the March version, the April version, and the May version. Each one of those then is now needing to be scheduled. So the next kind of major thing that we want to keep track of is we want to schedule the individual staff members for this month. To do that, we open our schedule. For this particular project, for this particular month, I only want Keith and Marina. Keith and Marina are going to do the first 2 weeks. That's a Saturday and Sunday, so we're not going to schedule anything. There are 0 standard working days. We only want to schedule those for the first 2 weeks. against the discovery workstream. This allows us to create our child records. These are our weekly project schedules. These are generated based on what we schedule. So now if I'm going to go to February's schedule, these are the weekly project schedules by person. For example, the week of February 6th, that's the 3rd through the 9th. We have 10 hours for Keith and 10 hours for Marina. The next week, the 10th through the 16th, we have 10 and 10. In the next week, we scheduled everybody. So Keith, Marina, and Niraj all are scheduled in their full schedule because we're assuming that build starts 2 weeks after discovery. You can see from the work stream that the build has started here. All right, so then we have our final week in February and we're off to the races. That combined across each of the months, I have a full list of those weekly schedules. If I then go to the April version, April is going to give me my exact details for what I've scheduled, and finally May. Now I could always delete all of these weeks and try it again. Let's say, for example, I didn't like how it went and I want to wipe it clean and try again for this particular month, or I want to do it for all 4 months. I just remove all the hours, all the schedules, and I can recreate it. If I want to fine tune it, then I'm going to click my schedule edits button. This is going to give me a specific view of the schedule across time. From here, I can edit one by one wherever it's needed. Let's say, for example, I think it should be 8 hours. In reality, there's no way he's going to be doing 20. It's more like 15. That's much more realistic. If I were to save, that would adjust those hours and change the schedule. Now, the other important thing to pay attention to when looking at any given project, and once you've done your schedules, how does this line up? So how does your schedule and the amount of money that you would be able to bill based on that schedule, how does that line up back to the Revecast schedule? Well, this is what you're going to do. You're going to click this link. This link is going to show you month over month how you're looking. So it's in reverse order. So February, we are anticipating that we would get 25 total. We have a total of 150 hours, and we're actually anticipating we've only scheduled 20,600. So that's a difference of 4,400. So in order to hit this revenue, we would actually need to increase the speed of this process to make this work. Or we make it up in the other months. So if we look at March then, 25 again, well, we're over in March. So we're slightly over in March because we have more people working. 25, 29, so we're over again. Now in May though, we're way under, 7,880 under, which gives us a total difference of 3,800. So right now, our total scheduled revenue equals 96,200, which is a difference of 3,800. We need to schedule more or know that in some weeks, there's going to be some flex. This gives us the ability week over week, as we move through time, as we move through schedules, as actuals come in, then we need to adjust schedules accordingly to hit revenue. All right, coming back to the project. In addition, we have what are called project templated tasks. We have a list or the ability to keep track of all the things this client does week over week, month over month for each individual project. We want a place to keep track of all those tasks that we have to do for every project. Once we have those, we can easily add them to the project. So we're going to say create project tasks. We're going to look at which particular work stream we want to add those tasks to, because some of them are specific to discovery, some of them are design. You can. Then choose all and push next. It will auto add them. Now, what that's going to look like in the background is tasks. Under tasks, then we would see a nice view. Okay, so under our list, we now have all the tasks associated. Now, the next thing that we want to keep track of is now that the project is scheduled and people scheduled, let's look at this from the external view. Here I am. I am one of those project team members. I am Keith, the solution architect. Okay, so Keith has a view like this. Now, Keith, he's on multiple projects at any given time. He's going to need a view that keeps track of all of his tasks across all projects, because I need a single view of all the things that I need to do today, this week, etc., for any and all of my projects. This would be that place. I can also see my open Kanban, any tasks that are in my to-do list, they would show up here. I can see key reports. If I'm not remembering what the object list is, here it is, and then there's my project tasks. Now, I can do a number of things from here. I can log my time. I can ask for a day off. If I'm a manager of other users, I might have to do timesheet review. I might have to do a little bit of management. These are the things that the end users would be able to do from these screens. Let's look at the first of those. And of course, also, they can look at their projects and just work through their projects. So let's go look at our Acme project. Okay, there's our Acme implementation. This is the external view that the staff are able to see. Just like the internal view, they are able to see all the work streams. They see all those tasks that we've created. They are able to see the team members. They are able to see their own schedules, not everybody's schedules unless we want to give them access. They can log and manage any key documentation for this project. They can keep track of any environments or systems. They can collaborate with their colleagues, with the project manager, with others around the organization. Okay. The next thing that they are able to do is view their schedule. In this case, Keith's schedule is always viewable on the calendar, and I can scroll through time if I want to go look at, hey, when does that Acme project start? There it is. It starts the 3rd of February. Now, I can also see this same information when I go to my time entry screen. So when I go to my time entry screen and I go to that specific week, there's my time entry. Now, I want to log time. So for example, I'm logging time right here. I want to log this time against this project. 5 hours is starting to add up. For this particular implementation, I did 2.5 hours for Acme. Let's say today I did 1.5 for this other project. Okay, my bar is moving along. Let's say, for example, I also did 1.75. I also did some discovery. I added a work stream. Now I have 2 logged amounts of time, and I can see numbers starting to add up down and across. In addition, I can see that my schedule for the Acme implementation, we thought that it would take 10 hours. We scheduled this person for 10 hours. Based on the original assumptions, I've already logged 4.25 against that based on these 2 time entries. So I can keep track of this day in and day out as to what I am tracking towards. If I have any questions, I can always ask. In addition to this, as the external user, I can always go look at my details. So I'm the external user, i.e. a staff member. I can keep track of my days off that I'm requesting, any time accruals that I have, which then gives me a PTO balance at any given time. I can keep track of my skills, what skills I have. I can keep track of my utilization. So from the external view, if I want to look at the utilization staff week record that we just created as part of time entry, each time a time entry record is created, it will generate a staff week record that matches up to the time, and any time logged against that week is tracked. So far, Keith here, for the February 3rd to the 9th week, the second week of February, his objective is 40 hours. He has logged billable 5.75. He has not yet logged any non-billable hours. He hasn't taken any days off or any hours off, and there are no holidays this week. So he has a 14.38% utilization. As we move through time and as the days roll on, by the end of the week, that should be a solid utilization. And that person externally would also be able to see what their weekly utilization is and keep track of it. Through this process, we can then manage our projects, our people, our timesheets, our PTO requests, etc.